Downtown Whitby Business Improvement Area. Excellent. Braden?
Hey, Braden Searsma. I'm Economic Development Coordinator for the town of Whitby.
And I've got Steve. Or maybe not.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
I'm Steve Key. I'm actually the chair of the Downtown Brooklyn Development Steering Committee.
Yvonne.
I'm on the Downtown Whitby Steering Committee, and Braden, if you need any heat for your dad, I remember teaching him at Henry Street. So if you need any clues, let me know.
That's awesome. I'll let you know.
Kathy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Ellis. I'm the owner and creative director of Creativeful Studio, and I'm doing the workshop next week. So I thought, Angela, I would pop in and support you and make sure I knew what you were talking about tonight so that we could be coordinated.
Nice. What is your work? I know I saw it, but I forget what it is. What your one is?
Signage.
Signage, right?
Yeah. So I'll be talking about facade design and signage.
Nice.
Yeah, they complement each other really well, I think. So, Linda, I'll pass it over to you next.
Yeah, hi, I'm Linda Armstrong. I'm with the Heritage Whitby Committee and also Downtown Brooklyn Business Committee as well. And anyway, I am interested for a couple things just to see what the next webinar Steve is running. And also have my own personal interest from a while back. I used to do merchandising myself. So just a way back, Canadian Tire. So just very interesting for me to see what they're doing now. Thank you.
Excellent. And then last, Myra, but not least.
Hello, I am the owner of Jane Fashion Boutique on Dundas, just around the corner from Words on Wood. And yeah, I'm excited to sign up for this because I love how the window looks at Words on Wood.
Great. And you also have a lovely window display. I walk by it most mornings, both of your windows, and they always look wonderful. So
thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you everyone for joining. I'm gonna pass it over to Carrie now and we'll get started. And like I said, feel free to ask questions as we go along. So yeah, for sure. And Braden's gonna watch the chat for us, so feel free to throw anything in. I think Angela said she doesn't mind questions as we're going along. So once you think it, shout it on out. So let me introduce you guys to Angela. She's the owner and the head creator at Words on Wood in downtown Whitby. She was established as a at-home sign painting studio back in 2014, but has since grown into a brick and mortar shop and a fabulous online store. I was saying earlier, I think I own almost every bundle she puts together in my house. So they offer workshops, private parties, and we just did a virtual party with the Downtown Whitby BIA not that long ago. Custom hand-painted signs, unique farmhouse decor, and all kinds of great items for your home. So a little bit of background about Angela. This was fascinating for me to learn. I didn't know this about you, Angela. Letters have always been very intriguing to Angela. Her love of words led to her pursuing a degree in journalism at Carleton University. But her path, I'm sure just like many, has taken a little detour and took her and led her into the fitness industry before she ultimately landed back with her love of letters in a creative and entrepreneurial outlet. Creating beautiful pieces and beautiful spaces is what Angela thrives on. You'll never find her house looking the same, and her shop is always being replenished with new finds. I can definitely say that when I walk by, because I'm like squirrel and then I just can't go in right now, which is so disappointing. When she's
Because of my window displays.
When she's not covered in paint, you can find her hiking in the forest, camping, running, biking, or my favorite personal one, drinking wine. So yes, definitely. Angela, thank you so much for joining us. I will turn it over to you. I know you have a little bit of a presentation for everybody. And like we said, if you've got questions, pop them in the chat and we'll keep it pretty informal. But over to you, Angela. Thank you for joining us this evening.
All right. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And thank you for inviting me to do this. So I am just going to forewarn everybody that as Carrie was talking, I did get a thing come up on my thing saying my internet is unstable. I do live in rural Whitby, and when the weather is not great, neither is my internet. So hopefully I can get through it, but if not, you guys have my notes that I'm sure you can carry on without me. So I do have a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation to go through with some examples of different windows. And for sure, if you guys have questions, please interrupt me and ask them probably before we lose our train of thought moving on to something else. And because also I don't really do the Zoom, not 100% familiar with everything. So also interrupt me if I'm up in that capacity. So I am going to put the PowerPoint on here.
Angela, can you hear me? I was just going to get her to turn off her video because sometimes that.
It might be good for all this as well.
Yeah.
To end with, just while the
Angela,
presentation's underway.
Can you hear me?
So everyone can see that? Yes?
Angela, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Do you want to actually just turn your video off because you are cutting in and out? Sometimes that helps with the bandwidth.
Okay, one sec. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now I cannot see you guys at all. So if you do have a question, just interrupt with your voices. Okay, so let's start here. So the first thing that we want to ask ourselves is, why should we care about our window displays? And obviously, just as at the very base level, is that basically we want to bring people into our shops. So if you can just imagine yourself walking in your downtown area, obviously we've all seen posters in a shop window promising a delicious cup of specialty coffee or limited edition dresses that you need for your night out. You guys remember those, right? Your nights out, or promoting a fun sign painting class. And that's basically what we're trying to appeal to, is that everyone is just like us. And when we're walking through the downtown area, we're going to be hopefully noticing the shop windows and wanting to go inside. So essentially our purpose here is to capture the attention of our customer. You want to increase your foot traffic and bring people in. Ultimately, what we need to do is get people's eyes off of their phone into your shop or onto your website. So this picture of the window here that I put up basically is for something you think about when you're looking at thinking about a shoe store window. So you can see the colors and the creativity is really something that's going to catch the attention of somebody walking by. So the first, everyone can hear me, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
You're good.
So,
You're good.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Okay, because I just feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay, so the first thing that you want to think about when you're doing your window is to know your target audience. And obviously, this is not something that I can tell you with your business what your target audience is. That's something that as a shop or a business owner, you kind of need to know for yourself and determine for yourself. So basically what that means is that not everyone who walks by your shop may want what you're selling. So for example, you know, a vegan is not going to want a fresh roast beef sandwich, or maybe someone doesn't really care about the latest pair of sneakers that you're selling. But what you do need to do is appeal to the people that do want those items. And what you need to do is know how to appeal to those consumers, and then create an effective window display to ultimately, as always, get them into your store. So this means understanding what they want, what's important to them, and then making your window display to support those motivations. In a practical sense, we use the retailer H&M, who I would have to think most of us are familiar with. H&M every summer knows that an activity that one of their main target markets likes to participate in would be a music festival like Coachella, that kind of thing. So what they have done is they've kind of designed this window here around the outfits that people would wear to the music festival. So what this does is it kind of makes the consumer see the outfits associated with the event that they're going to, and that's going to draw them in, because obviously we all need new outfits to go to your music festival, assuming you are H&M's target market. The next thing you want to think about when you do your window is, what is your main purpose? So basically you have two choices here, product or brand. So when you're focusing on product, you're basically selling an item, whereas when you're focusing on your brand, you're focusing on the image and the identity of your store. And you want to keep in mind that your window display should be like a teaser trailer for your shop, and it should answer the question, is it worth going in there? So if we think about the main purpose being the product, you can think about examples such as electronic shops, bakeries, jewelers, and florists, where the products are really taking the main stage in the window. So if you look at the picture here that I put up of the bakery with all the breads, the product here is really selling itself. There's nothing really else needed. The customer is going to walk by, they'll see the bread in the window, they'll smell the bread, it looks fresh, and they'll go inside. So the product is really taking the main stage and is what's going to draw you in. If you look at the picture on your right of Zara Home, this is more selling a lifestyle or a brand. So this is more things like clothes shops, gift shops, and furniture stores. They're going to try to focus more on their image, their identity, and their brand before actual individual products. So they'll try to create a snapshot of what you can expect to see and experience in the store by generating emotions and triggering desires. So if you look at this picture, it's kind of like, there isn't a specific product here that you're like, oh, I want to go inside and look at that bed, but it has a whole setup. We're like, oh, like I want this bedroom in my house. So you're going to go into the shop to kind of see what pieces you may be able to add to your own home to get that same kind of feeling and that same kind of look. The next thing that you can do to help you with your window designs when you're thinking of ideas is to choose a theme. So there's two different ways you can do this. You can focus your products around a central theme to help catch the eyes of your window shoppers that is directly linked to your products. So for example, say you sell a line of robes, towels, and artisan soaps. So you can think about setting your window up kind of in a bathroom theme. More simply, you can also make your theme for your window to be more seasonal. This is kind of the method that we go with at Words on Wood, just because I find that doing your window seasonally is gives you kind of a timeline of when you want to change things up, because you don't want to ever just set your windows and forget them, because then you're not adding anything new, and the people that pass by every day aren't going to be intrigued by anything, and it'll just become boring background. So if you think about doing your windows seasonally, you'll continue to pique the interest of people that come by. Also, typically seasonal windows are, your customer can relate with them. One thing to remember though, that when you are doing if you go seasonal, that your windows should still stay on brand with your business. So again, your brand is not something that I can speak to you specifically. That's for you to know and you to communicate. But when you are doing your windows, obviously you want to be relatable to the rest of your business. And what I mean by this is, so for example, if you're doing a Halloween window similar to the one that's here in the picture, so if we use my business as an example of this, so Words on Wood is very, I would say, neutral aesthetic. So we do a lot of black, white, wood. We definitely don't do a lot of colors. We do texture and pattern. So when we do our Halloween window, we're not going to have bright orange jack-o'-lanterns and black and white witches and ghosts, because that's not really the aesthetic. So if we think about Words on Wood window, we're going to do muted white and gray felt pumpkins or fall plaids, so that your customer still knows what to expect when they come inside your store. This window that I put the example here of, I thought was super cute. This is a glasses store, an optical store, and they've obviously set up the ghosts with different pairs of glasses on. I thought that was really clever. Okay, so creating a focal point. So once you have a rough sketch or an idea and your theme, you need to take a step outside your store and look at your window to decide where your customer's eye level is going to be, where the center line of your display is, and whether you can incorporate elements around that space on items such as you can hang things from the ceiling on string or wire and so on from there. So you'll have a good idea of what your central or focal point should be. And the focal point is basically where you want your customers to look first and concentrate their focus. You want to determine how big that central point should be. And whatever is intended to be the central point of your display should be big enough so that you can see it from across the other side of the street. So you don't want to have a super small focal point that isn't going to be noticeable, because basically the whole point of this is to draw your customers' attention. And once you have that focal point, you want to start thinking about how you're going to arrange the products around your focal point. So are they going to, like I said, are they going to be on strings hanging from the ceiling? Are they going to be on shelving? Are you going to set up a pyramid kind of scheme? So you want to just kind of work with what else you have going on in the window to work best around your focal point. So in this example that I have here, it's for a suit brand called Paul Smith, and they're again, they're like a neutral kind of business, but they've used this colorful zebra in the Windows display to grab the attention of the customer. But then the blue suit that they have with the zebra is complementary, so it still goes together. But a plain blue suit in a window is maybe not so attention grabbing as the colorful zebra that then directs the attention over to the product that they are selling. When your retail store is on a busy street with lots of competitors, this is why it's important to create and leverage your focal point. And that's really going to be a game changer for you. So for best results, you want to place your focal points at eye level. So whether your focal point is an accessory, an outfit. So if you look at the picture that's here, the focal point is, this is from Anthropologie, is obviously this pretty outfit in the front, but they have this really nice backdrop that is going to draw your eye over, but you're still drawn back to the outfit and the product that they're selling. Same thing is going to apply if you're using a signage or a unique structure. And when you place your items or your focal point at an eye level, it increases the likelihood that the display captures the attention and draws the customer in. So what you want to do is ask yourself, what do I want people to see first? And then you're going to use that as the centerpiece for your window. The other thing to keep in mind when you're creating your focal point is that you want to keep it simple and avoid clutter. So if we look at this example that I've provided here, I mean, obviously this person has taken a lot of time and effort to create their store window, but it really just looks like a mess. And we're not really sure what it is that we're looking here. Nothing is really drawing your attention directly to it. This is not really something that's going to stand out or be memorable. So this is something that you're just could potentially pass by and not be enticed to go into the store. And that's just what I've pointed out here, that without a focal point, the window display kind of lacks purpose, and then it's less effective in capturing your customer's attention. So a good tip to remember when you're doing your store window, when it comes to everything that you want to put in it, is that it's not meant to showcase everything that you sell. It means showcasing products that you think will grab people's attention and then compel them to come into your shop and see what else you sell. So you want to think about your window display as more of a teaser than as a full product catalog. Another you put in your window, I know on the question sheet there was a question about whether or not a window should have a background. So this window obviously has a background. So they have all their products shoved into the window and you can't see past them into what else the store has. Whereas my preference would really be to keep the back of your window open so that you can see through into the store, so that the store merchandise and stuff that you have behind your window display kind of becomes part of the window display and contributes to enticing people into your shop. What I said here is to keep your products at various eye levels. And what I mean by this is if you take a look at this window, that yes, the focus is at eye level. However, there are different levels, and that's important to keeping your window interesting. So you don't want to just put everything in eye level and have kind of like a line of merchandise across one level of your window and then nothing above or below, because again, that's not going to be interesting either. So as you see here, although the main components are at eye level, they've used risers to make them at different eye levels. So what you want to do is go outside and take a good look at your store window, but also a brief look. And what I mean by that is people aren't necessarily going to stop and look at your window or look at your window straight on. They most likely are going to be walking by. So you want to see how quickly and how effectively your window is capturing their attention or grabbing it. So again, some tips for keeping your products at various eye levels. This is a beautiful window we have in downtown Whitby at Words on Wood. So I've used this one as an example because if you look at the picture, the product that we're selling in this window is not the dresser or the door behind, but rather the things we've used to accessorize it. So the little felt pumpkins, the wreath that's on the door, and the sign that's on the dresser are what we're kind of highlighting, but we're using different levels and different textures to highlight those products. So how are you going to display your products at the right height? So there's some options here or some things to consider. So you can stack smaller products on top of each other. This will make for a more eye-catching display, as your customers are more likely to spot a group of smaller products than a single one. And it will also bring them closer to the desired eye height. I think this is a really good tip in terms of product, is that when you put one item, it's not as attractive as it is if you put a group. So if you look in the picture again, how there's a whole grouping of pumpkins, and I'm not sure you can really see, but in the background, there's also a little grouping of faux succulents. It's going to make more of an impact than if you just put one little pumpkin there. You want to use your product display pyramids or shelvings. You can think about buying some small secondhand coffee tables or dressers that match your overall style of your shop, and then use them to display your products similarly to what we've done here. And keep in mind that you can always stack tables on top of each other to create variation in your displays, and you could also paint them to match your aesthetic. Same with if you want to use things like crates or empty wooden boxes and leave one side open, you can stack those on top of each other at different levels. Then you can put things inside the crates, on top of the crates, and inside the crate as well. So using props to show off your products, finding the right props can really help make a difference to the way your window display works. Great props are eye-catching, but basically you don't want them to take over the show. So they're supposed to be there to complement what it is that you're selling or what it is that you're highlighting. And when you get it right, great props can help communicate the image of your shop while still displaying your products. So different ways to display your merchandise or props to consider is, for example, when we talked about the selling the lifestyle or the brand back at the beginning, is if you look for bigger or more expensive items at your shop that perhaps you would sell but less frequently, but then you use them to showcase your smaller items. And again, this is going to sort of convey the overall image of your store and will help the customer imagine what their homes could look like if they bought some small bits or pieces to liven up their own home environment, similarly to what you have set up in your shop window. If you go to secondhand shops, great to use old suitcases, camera tripods, boat supplies are great for stacking products and conveying seasonal things. They're great options there. As I previously mentioned, the crates are really great for using in your shop window, assuming it goes with your brand, but you can really adjust those to make them match the look that you're going for. You can find old vintage bicycles and put your mannequins around it, or a pile of bricks is pretty neat to use to display smaller products. So light is a really important part of to do some different lighting in my store windows, but don't have a budget for it right now, but it is something to consider. It's Ideally, you would have a couple of spotlights that you can use to point at your key products, and then generic overhead lighting. You want to make sure your lights are switched on into the night, because the purpose is obviously to grab the attention even when you're not there, to entice people to come back when you are open. So leaving your lights on in the window in the evening when people are still out and about or driving home from work, they will see your store and be enticed to come back. And additionally, if people can't see your products or your store's interior, you're missing out on that opportunity to draw them in. And just a tip in terms of lighting is that you want to try to avoid lighting displays that come directly from the top, because this can make unattractive shadows. So instead, we want to think about lighting from the side and the front. Using window graphics. So that's the stickers here on the front that say hot pants, 5 ways your summer must-haves. So window graphics are great to add dimension to your window as well as conveying messages. So at Words on Wood, if you recall a couple slides back, I don't want to go back because I don't want to get lost in there, but if you put, I like to have the shop window to have your store name. And then if you include something like a byline or you could have your hours, highlight a specific product or service, then that's going to be there and can stay there somewhat permanently. And then you can build your window display behind it, but it just kind of keeps your store name, your identity sort of ingrained with the whatever your window display is. So they can be pricey if you were to interchange your vinyl stickers every season, the way this store obviously does. But when you're going to consider your window stickers for more permanent, then yeah, I would just go with your shop name and tagline. Promotional signage, which I guess you guys will talk maybe a little bit more next week. Promotional signage is like these big sale tags in the background, which is going to use language to lure in your key customers at certain times. So you want to give customers enough information about your products to make them want it, but as always, beware of cluttered wording when you're communicating what's special about your brand. And remember that promotional signage should be changed regularly to communicate sales. So what that means is if you go by a store and every time you go by it has a sale sign in the window, that's no longer exciting or enticing to you because it just seems like that store always has a sale. So you want to make sure that sale signs go up and down. It's not something you want to put up and leave it there forever. And when it comes to your signage copy, you want to keep in mind again that less is more, because you don't want to have too many words and then your message becomes obscured. You want to use minimum amount of words that's necessary to get your message across, which is what you always want to do when you're trying to grab attention. It's not meant to be a novel, it's meant to be a quick. Also want to keep in mind how many signs you have posted in a given area. So you don't want to bombard your customers with a ton of wordy, cluttered signage, trying to browse your selection of product or make a purchase. You don't want them to be distracted by an overabundance of sale signs. So I did put a little bit of information here about color theory, but there's a ton of information about color online. And again, that's something you're going to want to kind of investigate based on what your brand is and what your product is. So I think that by now we're all aware that color has sort of a subconscious effect or impact on us. So when you have customers look to your window, you want to make sure that your color kind of matches up with the message you're trying to convey. So one thing to keep in mind before you go to what colors you want to use is that you do want to use high contrast colors in your signage. So for example, black with white or dark with light and so on, so that it's easier to read and it's easier to quickly absorb. So when it comes to color theories, it basically will invoke certain emotions or associations that we experience with different colors. So if we go through a couple of examples here, cool colors such as green, blue, and aqua impart more of a tranquil vibe. So these are good for eco-friendly or self-care brands. Blue also conjures up a sense of trust, so it's good for financial institutions. Purple is introspective, soothing color that's popular for spiritual or cosmetic lines and products. Warm colors like red, orange, and yellow, on the other hand, are more exciting for customers. This is why traditional sale or clearance signs use bright red to impart. Yellow is also an optimistic color that's great for attracting customers. And if we think about a brand that right away, I'm sure a lot of us will jump to McDonald's, which really is, they're really going after what it is that they want with their colors. Black is associated with strength, power, and luxury, which is good for high ticket items like jewelry or luxury footwear, whereas white communicates hygiene and or new beginnings. So think things like weddings, lab coats, and kitchen appliances. So one thing to keep in mind when you're doing your window is that you need to be bold. And why do we need to do that? Well, as we all know, our attention span is shrinking. Is everyone still paying attention, or has your attention span left? All of our attention spans are very small. We're very distracted, and your buyers are not an exception. So you can bet that most people, when they're walking by your store, are probably talking with a friend that they're with, talking on the phone, they're texting, they're walking their dog, they're thinking about dinner, but you need to somehow catch their attention. And at the very least, you want to create a store window display that maybe they'll take a picture with their smartphone and then share it on Instagram. So in creating your retail window display, don't be bland. Be bold with your colors, your shapes, and your props, and think outside your cookie colors and opt for more eye-catching hues. But just remember to use your judgment so that even in your boldness, you're still staying consistent with your brand. So your final look, once you have all your pieces where you want them, make sure you take a look at your window display from every possible angle. Very rarely is a person going to only notice a display when they're standing right in front of it. So you want to walk up to your window from different directions and check things like your focal point, how visible your signage is or calls to actions are, and that it all appears balanced. Like this window display that we have here. I thought this was a super cute one for some kids' clothes, but they've done a really cute background. They have all the different levels. They have the different colors. This is really appealing and is going to catch the attention of people walking by for sure. So once you're satisfied with the results, congratulations, your store window display is ready to go. And that is it.
That was so great, Angela.
Nice.
Yeah. There we go. I was gonna say, if you hit stop share, I think we'll all I'm going to leave my video off just so that you know, we got some bandwidth going. Wow, I'm like blown away. I almost wish I had a bakery again so that I could put some of these to play.
Just do your window?
Yes, just to do my window, honestly. Fantastic presentation and tips, Angela. That was great. Does anybody have any questions for Angela? Oh, there's something in the Q&A here, Braden.
I don't like my window now. Well, I know that when the designers put the wings, the pink wings on the window, they didn't make it the right size. So they made it too small. It was supposed to be bigger so that the mannequins could still show through. Anyway, so that's something that I see every day. Like I see that flaw, but because it was expensive, I can't go and change it until it peels off the window. So yeah, I like Angela's presentation.
And I think we just lost Angela.
Angela.
I mean, not that I like losing her, but at least it was like she got all of this amazing. Oh, here she comes back. Like, I think we just lost her. I'm just trying to connect audio here.
Hi, sorry.
That's okay.
I told you this, the Zoom is not my thing.
Zoom is not my thing.
I just exited out.
Steve has put a question in the question and answer panel here, Angela. How often do you change your window?
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of depends on how much time you have to devote to your windows, but definitely I would say seasonally. So for me, I kind of like to make sure that we do a Christmas/holiday window. We definitely do a spring window, and then we'll do a summer window, a fall window, and then in there, and then after Christmas, we'll do a winter window. So basically with the seasons, but then also we like that's when we'll do our big window changes, but then we'll also just make small changes. Say if we get a new product in, or like at Valentine's Day, you can always add a couple of things to your existing window without having to do a total overhaul. I'm not a really big fan of doing a big window for a season or a holiday like Valentine's Day. That's just a short, like it's just such a short period of time that I don't think putting the energy and effort into doing a big Valentine's Day window is really a good use of time. However, that's just going to kind of depend on your own shop. Probably like a chocolate place is going to put a ton of time into their Valentine's window. So that's just something that's going to kind of depend on what your manpower is, how much time you have to devote to your window, and what your objectives are.
Okay, great.
But I definitely think that you should be changing up your window at least like 5 to 6 times a year on the main seasons.
Myra, go ahead.
What about for fashions? So I could honestly do it like 3 times a week, but then that's overkill because I get a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. So should I do it once a week or every Friday, or like Fashion Friday and have something new? I don't know.
Yeah, well, for you, that would be really cool, actually, like to do if you changed your window up every Friday and said Fashion Friday, and then you put it on your social media, and it's kind of like, and you make a hashtag for it, and it's something people follow along. Because you have I know you have a small window, so it's not something that's going to take you a ton of time to do, right? So, if you're going to put the time into changing your window every week like that, then yeah, it's definitely something you kind of want to incorporate into your social media, and something that people will come to expect. It is hard with clothes because I know like you get new stuff all the time. And I do think that clothing should be changed more often, because you don't like, fashion moves quickly, right? And you want to look like you're moving quickly with it. So when you change your window frequently in this, or like they're up on the latest fashion and they need to get in there and get it, right?
Yeah. And I don't have a lot of props because it's such a small area, a small front section, that I just have to put, like I can't put huge props there to, like I do have a couple suitcases, hot pink suitcases now to create a little bit of different levels, but it's something I struggle with weekly. Like it's hard. Yeah, it's I want it to be easier, I guess I should say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as we do with most things, it would be, oh, see, I almost exited out of here again. I need to stop pushing buttons, honestly.
Yeah, maybe a Fashion Friday, maybe once a week.
Yeah, like that sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah.
Like I know for me, I walk by Turquoise most days when I go into work, and I know that if they had different clothes in the window every week, as a regular passerby, I would definitely be more intrigued to go in, because if it's something new in the window that I like that I didn't see last week, I'm going to want to go in and buy it.
Yeah, and I know I'm like that too. If I see something in the window, I'm all over it. But it's hard, like with shutdowns, it's hard because I don't know, a curbside window, I guess.
I definitely don't think that these guidelines probably apply to right now. I think they're more for, regular time. Right now, who knows what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know anymore either.
Another question came in, Angela. Do you find what you put in your window sells? So almost like a suggestive style of selling.
Yep. I would say that our windows are more along the line of the lifestyle brand approach as opposed to the product-based approach. So our window is more to kind of give a general feeling about what is inside the store, or how people might want like their family room to feel or their bedroom to feel. So for us, it's not really a product-based window for the most part. So I would say that for us, no, the things we put in the window are not typically like, oh, I've come in your store to buy this item. It's more like, oh, I've come in the store because I saw your window and I love what's in it, but now I want to see what else you have and how I can incorporate those items into my home.
Okay, great. Another one has come in. You guys are great with the questions today. Any suggestions that you have, Angela, about preventing sun damage to window displays?
Yeah, that's a good one. And that is actually something we struggle with because we make wood signs, and obviously the sun on wood makes the sap come out and whatever else. So we don't actually typically put a lot of wood signs in the window anymore because of that. So I guess the short answer is no. I don't know what you can do about that. That's a hard one because you don't want to put like a film or a filter on your window to make it less clear what you're trying to showcase. And at the same time, you're not going to want to close your windows during the day. So I think it might just be an unavoidable hazard of putting things in the window. I don't know. I'm not sure what you could really do to avoid that.
Right. I put a cake in a window once. That didn't end well. So there's that.
Oh, no.
Does anybody else have any questions? I mean, I have a couple, but I want to open the floor up to you guys to pick this woman's brain. She's fabulous. Anybody? Angela, you touched on things like it being a teaser and a trailer for your store, and that it's sort of enticement to bring you into the store. When is enough when you're doing a window? Where is that line between a really, really effective window display and
I think
clutter? Oh, did I freeze or did she freeze?
Yeah, I think your question got a little cut off there, but I mean, it's hard. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that for me, less is more. So, but that kind of goes with my aesthetic and the sort of my brand, right? So you don't want, if you think back to the example where all the dishes were in the window, like that was obviously too much.
Right.
So I think that you want to think about it more, not like how much you should have, but more of like your focal, and then what complements it around it, to a point where you're getting the attention, you're getting your point across, but it doesn't become full and overwhelming. So if you walk by it and feel like it's too busy, then it's too much. But if you walk by it and it grabs your attention and it makes you want to go in and see more, then you're at the right point. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to, again, because it's different products, it's different brands, to just say a number like, oh, 5 products and that's it. It's really going to also depend on the size of your window. But again, if you think back to the slideshow with the Anthropologie examples, so Anthropologie is obviously a very successful company. Everybody loves Anthropologie. Their window had one item in it. It was a big storefront window. They had all those glass bottles behind and then the one outfit. So sometimes just doing that is going to draw your attention in, right? Because you're like, ooh, that's so nice. I want to go and see what else there is. So it's not even necessarily like you need to have a bunch of things. You just need to have something that is
Did you come back? Did Jai freeze? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Carrie.
I
Not
can hear
Ann.
you.
Okay, great. Sorry, I got the dreaded your internet is unstable warning as well. I'm sure there's children streaming somewhere here. Myra, did you have your hand up?
I sort of did. So some of the pictures had these beautiful like backdrops like anchored from the ceiling, but how do they do that? Like so the big sale sign tags, that's really cool. Or, like Anthropologie, I think one of them had like pretty little dangly flowers or something. But
Yeah.
I've always like, I have not a drop ceiling, sorry. It's like an open ceiling, so open concept.
Yeah. So
But
your ceilings are really tall, right?
Yeah, so how would I anchor stuff?
Yeah, we have the same problem. And also, obviously, anthropology has a much bigger budget than we do, right? So just some suggestions that you can do is that if you if you set up something that's maybe a little more semi-permanent, if you want to have that option of dropping things from above. So for example, like you can put a vintage ladder horizontally, you could hang it from the ceiling so that you then have a point where you can tie things off of that hang down. And then that way you're not having to figure out how to get all the way up to your ceiling every time you want to hang something, but you have a neat little accent to your window that then you can also hang things off of.
I see what you mean. Like put the ladder up there. That's
Yeah. So basically you could hang a ladder horizontally so that it's down low enough that you can reach, and then you can tie things off your ladder so that they're hanging down. You can do the same kind of idea too. So for example, in our store, because we also have the really high ceilings and we wanted to hang some things at the back of the store, we strung like a airplane wire, I think they're called. I don't know, one of those really heavy duty wires across the store, and then you can hang things off of that. So you can do that from your wall to wall, or however your setup is, and then that way you just have a lower point to hang things from.
I had this drapery guy come in to get a quote. He was ridiculous. Like, I don't even think he knew. He was like, well, this will be $1,000 and this will be $1,000. And I'm like, bye. Because he was saying, oh, you don't have, oh, you need this because you don't have the support beam needs to be here. And I'm like, okay, no. No, he just didn't have the creative vision that I wanted to. Like, I don't want to spend thousands. I have to be cost efficient here.
For sure, yeah.
To do things with wire. That's what I mean. Right. Like wire and like he was talking support beams need to be here and there. And I'm like, no, not restructuring the building.
Yeah. It's not in the budget.
Yeah, maybe my home, but not my building. So yeah, I'm all for the airplane wires. That I can.
That's a really good tip. That's a really, really good tip. I like that one.
And then just a couple nails to hold that in the wall, I guess.
I have a question, Angela. What's your favorite season to do?
Mine is definitely Christmas, and we do, whether it's politically incorrect or not, decorate our windows for Christmas. I just think that it's so pretty to have the lit up Christmas tree in the window, and I love that in people's houses too. It's just one of my favorite things is lit up Christmas trees in the window. So yeah, I would say definitely Christmas.
Yeah, you've got some beautiful Christmas displays.
Christmas is everybody's favorite season in retail, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I have an interesting question for you. What is your favorite window display that you've ever seen? Not that you've done, but that you've seen. Like, who does like Angela say, oh my gosh, I love that person's window?
I don't know. I know for sure that like if I was going grand scale, I would say the Hudson Bay windows. When I was a kid, we would go downtown Toronto every Christmas to those. I don't even know if they still do them. When I was a kid, they had like all the moving aspects and everything in the windows. Like those windows were so fun, and that was an event. So I would probably have to choose those. But if I was going on a smaller scale, I actually really like the lemonade stands windows in Uxbridge. She has a store that's similar to mine. And her windows always look really pretty. And this Christmas, I think Uxbridge had like a window competition of some sort. And she did a really great job with her Christmas window. She had like full-sized, like vintage Santa and Mrs. Claus, I think, and they just looked really pretty.
That would be cool. Yes, I was going to suggest. I think we need to throw down this year and have a window decorating competition downtown.
Yeah. And something actually that I just remembered that I meant to put in my presentation and I forgot is that don't forget to kind of use like the outside of your window as well. So what we will every day put a small display up outside. So
yes.
Like we typically will put out a blanket ladder and a chair with a different pillow and like a different sign, because any frequent
Are we losing you a
So
little bit?
it's a lot easier to just throw a different sign out or a different pillow every day that attracts the attention. And I also just feel like putting something outside that.
Sorry, just losing you a bit there, Angela. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Okay. Sorry, my internet's really bad and probably someone's on their PlayStation.
Yeah, it's probably what's happening here too. I'm getting the unstable message. No, I think just I don't know if everybody heard about the whole outside that you were talking about. That you do put out a blanket
Yeah.
ladder and things outside, and that's I love things outside. I think that entices
Yeah.
into places.
For sure.
I think this year for sure we're going to. I have little mini Christmas trees, and I think for the holiday season this year, every participating person is going to have to take a Christmas tree and incorporate it into their window display, and we're going to have to send all the residents of Whitby on a hunt downtown to vote on their favorite for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Going to get that going. Does anybody else have any questions for Angela? We have about 4-ish minutes left. Just wanted to be respectful of everybody's time. Time is precious these days. And anybody else? Linda or Yvonne, Braden, anybody?
I was just gonna say this is great, Angela. It's I really enjoyed listening here today. I wish that every business in downtown Whitby and downtown Brooklyn was a part of this, because I think the tips and tricks that you've offered today, it contributes to what our the vibrancy of our downtown. So thanks for taking the time to do this. And I think as we move forward in the out of COVID, window displays are window shopping is here to stay. And I think that as people are downtown, they're going to be looking into windows, and it's a way of showcasing what your business has to offer. So thanks for all the tips and tricks.
Yeah, you're
welcome. No problem.
Showed us what sort of makes a difference between people rushing past and coming in, which is, ultimately the goal. So that is great. Great.
I almost want to become a decorator now, Angela. You've inspired
No,
me.
right?
It's amazing. I learned so much today. Thank you.
Yeah,
Again, echo Braden's comments. It was absolutely wonderful. I really, really learned a lot. And I think from what I've talked to Kathy about with her presentation next week, I think these two are going to jive really, really well together. So I know I want to take some information, and I was talking about creating a tip sheet that we send out to some of our downtown businesses between the two presentations. I think that's a great idea. You've really nailed some key points that I think will really help with a lot of our businesses in our downtown. So well done, very, very well done.
Yeah, definitely well done. And when people ask me what they should do in their windows, because I've had a couple businesses actually say, I don't know what to do to my window. So either A, I'm just going to send them to you, Angela, and or B, share some amazing information that you shared with us, because it's
I'll start a consulting business.
You should. Between you do consulting for the windows, Kathy can do the signs. Oh my goodness, we'll have the best looking windows and signages in all of the province for sure.
Yeah.
On behalf of all of us, Angela, thank you so much for taking your time. I really, really appreciate it. And hopefully we can get back to normal soon, and I'll come in and support you the best we can, for sure.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining. And I'm sure if you have any questions afterwards or think anything afterwards, you can get them to myself or Christy or Braden, and or reach out to Angela yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Thanks,
Have a good night,
Angela.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.